What other channels are you now investing more in? Perhaps you can even give a percentage split that you allocate each year, 10% to social, for example, or other digital activity. Matt, did you want to start off?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to you before this. I have a real problem with the word traditional media. It kind of says there's non-traditional and traditional. Let's get over it. It's just media now. So the concept that digital is somehow non-traditional is a ridiculous construct, because whether you're, born in the tech age or not, it's now just part of your everyday existence. So we just need to stop talking about that, because it's just a ridiculous concept. But in terms of the absolute numbers, if you talk about where we put our money, we put 20 odd % of our money into the digital, video, film, kind of that space, give or take. We still spend heaps on, traditional film advertising in cinema or on television. We're restricted, so we only advertise after 8:30. So there's kind of less money for us to throw at traditional daytime TV and prime. And we spend a fair bit of money on experiential. So we have bars and clubs. It's a whole different channel of consumer. We are the original social network. They're called bars. You make friends and you like them. And sometimes no, I won't say it. So we spend a fair bit of money there, which most companies won't need to spend. But I think you can't really set standards or rules, because depending on who your consumer is and where they're at and their life stage and their motivations and needs, you just have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to be really careful about setting kind of benchmarks of spends. You've got to make sure that you start with no lines to start with, and then just work out what's your target market, where are they, what are they doing, and we're adding elements like what are they thinking, when are they opening to a conversation. And I think media agencies have always talked about opportunities to see, but not opportunities to understand or participate. But we know that leaving work in the afternoon, as you're driving home or catching the bus home, you're most likely to be keen to hear about alcohol, because you're in a particular headspace. You either didn't like the day you had, or you're gearing up for the night you're going to have. So you're in a mindset that's changing. Whereas, in a traditional sense, that mightn't be the best reach and frequency, but it will have the greatest impact based on the mindset of the person. So yeah. I think it's you've got to be very careful about setting arbitrary rules around media placement, and you've got to be careful about the non-traditional, traditional bias, because it's just new, and you've got to accept it as it is and not fight against it. So that would be kind of where I'm at.
So Matt, just your earlier points, film is still very powerful for you, but it's not just on TV. You're spending a lot more on online videos.
5 years ago, all marketeers were like, "Oh, TVCs are dead, and don't make ads and make all these banner ads on and stick them on digital places and get media agencies comping you for dodgy margins." But let's not talk about that. But the quant study is pretty much that film campaigns work best. Period. And that's film in the newest sense of the word. That's from 5 seconds to 5-minute film, and that's placed in anywhere that's right for consumers. I mean, if you're targeting next generation, for us it's like legal purchase age 21, so 18 to 21 year olds, they're going to watch everything on YouTube and maybe MTV at midnight, and they're not going to watch any traditional, or they're going to time shift TV, and you're not going to be able to get them. So the filmatic message is still the most powerful, because the narrative is the best thing you can tell. But you're not making a television ad for 30 seconds on TV. You are making a piece of film that is right for your target. And you might make a 5-second teaser for this target and a 5-minute trailer for that target.
Yep.
But still, great film is great film. And I think as marketeers in the last many years, there's just been this voice of the television ad is dead, but actually there's a reappraisal now to say that great film is still super effective, so don't walk away from it.
Excellent, okay. Add to that, John?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally aligned. There's two fundamentals. One is that our brands are still about telling their stories, creating emotive responses, behavioural changes, etc., etc. Two, we're still following our demographics. So if our demos, their eyeballs are on more screens, then we will be on more screens. And I'll get slightly controversial now. Sat through a couple of presentations today, same old stuff. same old stuff, you know, Gen Y, Gen Z are doing this, blah, 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 blah. I have to say, there's another huge market opportunity out there that I wish agencies would just get to terms with and stop holding up this mirror in front of themselves and actually look at boomers. You know, boomers are getting into this space, you know, in a big time. Yet I hear nobody talking about boomers. So, you know, that's a bit of a challenge back to the industry, because, you know, they're a huge commercial, you know, opportunity for everyone. They're cashed up. You know, they're so willing to get into this space that yes, they might be a bit slower than some other generations. But at the end of the day, to answer your question, it's not about do I allocate a certain percentage of our media spend towards, you know, digital, social, whatever. It's where are my demographics going, and actually the economics of it make a percentage split meaningless anyway, because the cost effectiveness of these spaces is such that I can actually drive, if you use a common denominator, not necessarily the right one, but, you know, if I can drive more impressions more cost effectively from social digital, it might actually mean that my percentage splits don't change that much compared to, you know, it might not erode that much into TV. So if I've only seen, say, a 5-point shift year on year, that's not a disaster. That's, you know, that's proper management of the media budget.
Okay. And Michael, you know, we know MLA for its big Sam Kekovich ads. For Australia, it's been running for 10 years, and you have your seasonal ad campaigns. How have you changed your marketing mix and any new channels that you're investing more in, spending more time in?
Yeah, I mean, look, ultimately we're still trying to do the same thing. That is, we're trying to influence people to buy our products. But there has been some changes. I think we are now looking more at people in their various life stages. And there's various options for those people. So it's very consistent with what the other guys are saying. There's just more options for reaching people. And obviously, you know, it's a fact that, you know, whether we want to call it, you know, traditional media, but obviously, you know, a media dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. So we need to be smarter about how we use our money. So, for example, you know, one of our campaigns is based around nutrition. As some of you may recall, we had a long-standing campaign with Sam Neill. Now, look, the reality is that you know, the average mum doesn't want to hear about heavy metals. You know, she just want to hear that you know, that meat's got iron and zinc in it. She wants to know what she's going to cook for dinner tonight, and how's she going to make it happen, because she's working and she's busy. So, how do we fit in with that? How do we help her, basically? And that then leads us to a range of options. And for us, you know, that includes digital options, web-based options. You know, we've run a campaign. The most recent campaign we ran, it had a sponsorship deal with MasterChef, Professional, but that was really just to launch it. And most of the campaign was via our web-based activity and digital activity.
Okay.
So we have moved in that space, but that's only because we're really trying to target people and help them solve their problems and be positively predisposed to our product.
Okay. Anything to add to that, Kent? So you have, I suppose, a combination of owned, earned, and paid media in terms of your mix. So it's probably a bit of a different perspective.
Yeah, look, very similar themes. I think there was a time where, as a marketer, you'd almost be embarrassed to say that we're working on a piece of content to go on TV or cinema, or we're running print advertising. But we're not walking away from a lot of those mediums, but we're definitely introducing social and digital and experiential and PR as well, particularly on that earned piece. I think really one of our big philosophies is what we call inside out, and we start our media planning with our own assets. It's interesting when you look hard at all the assets you have to talk to customers, you know, starting with your website, 50,000 people sitting on planes for hours every day with IFE, with in-flight entertainment screens, our in-flight magazines, back of boarding passes, emails, 9 million frequent flyers. You start to realise very quickly, at least in our case, that there's a very effective media solution there with a minimal cost. So I think that's been one of our big shifts to do more with less. We're a little bit different in that I did put some rules in place around 10% of budget for high-risk media initiatives, and 15% has to be on digital and social. I did that because I'm in an industry that is all about safety. Our number one priority is safety and don't take risk. because the most important thing for our brand is that the aircraft gets there on time, it gets there safely, and it's a great experience. So I did that to really force the team into doing some of those higher risk marketing initiatives, and also a signal to the agencies that we're absolutely open to the new ideas. So I think probably they are the slightly different. And from an agency point of view, I think I am, the digital activity like banner ads and search, I think most agencies can do. The hardcore digital stuff, like video seeding, like applications to find your way around Heathrow Airport so you can actually get to the next flight on time. And some of the stuff that RGA in the States have done with Nike with chips in shoes, I do believe you need a specialist agency at the moment. I think that the client almost knows as much as the agency in some cases in the digital space, so you really have to look hard for those agencies that can, I think, push you into to new media areas.